Hello. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video, but I just got my webcam working. I had the thing since 2003 and never actually used it for its intended purpose until now, basically. Okay, so I was going through the stuff from the room I was renting back in college, and I found this old paper. It has to be less than a year old because I only lived in that room for 1 year. But the subject of it really caught my attention. I really don't remember where I got this. Okay, lesson 67, Evolution, Part 4. I'm assuming this came from some kind of textbook because of that title. How did the bird have energy if it didn't eat? Because it didn't yet have a mouth and complete digestive system. How did the bird see what there was to eat before its eyes evolved? Evolution is intellectual suicide. It is an embarrassment. See Romans 1:21 and 22. Because that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. I actually looked that up myself. They said to see Romans 1:21-22, but it wasn't actually written down there. Now the meat of this is questions for evolutionists. According to Dr. Kent Hovind, yes, Dr. Kent Hovind, you heard right, the test of any theory is whether or not it provides answers to basic questions. Some well-meaning but misguided people think evolution is a reasonable theory to explain man's questions about the universe. Evolution is not a good theory. It is just a pagan religion masquerading as science. Following are some of the basic questions that Dr. Hovind asks. 1. Where did the space for the universe come from? 2. Where did matter come from? 3. Where did the laws of the universe come from? 4. How did matter get so perfectly organized? 5. Where did the energy come from to do all the organizing? 6. When, where, why, and how did life come from dead matter? 7. When, where, why, and how did life learn to reproduce itself? 8. With what did the first cell capable of sexual reproduction reproduce? 9. Why would any plant or animal want to reproduce more of its kind, since this would only make more mouths to feed and decrease the chances of survival? Does the individual or the species have a drive to survive? How do you explain this? 10. How can mutations, recombining the genetic code, create any new, improved varieties? Recombining English letters will never produce Chinese books. And 11. Is it possible that similarities in design between different animals prove a common creator instead of a common ancestor? Okay. This paper just goes all sorts of wrong. First of all, the first 6 questions actually have nothing to do with evolution. The first 5 actually have nothing to do with biology at all. The rest are... Anyway, every single one of them is basically a straw man argument. But I think I'm going to hold off before I actually answer the questions. I'm very easily capable of it. But I want to go back up to the top. Remember the part, how did the bird have energy if it didn't eat? Or see what there was to eat before the eyes evolved? Are they honestly expecting me to believe that anyone who believes in evolution would think that there were blind, stomachless birds flying around? Well, it's quite obvious that the eyes and the digestive tract, more importantly, were the first 2 things that almost any animal species would need to evolve. Especially that digestive tract. The most primitive animals, the sponges and anemones and jellyfish, they all have fully functioning digestive tracts, and they don't even have brains. So most of them don't even have eyes. So now you would get something that can eat first, and then once it can eat and survive, then you would get something that could see, then you would get flight. You would not get flight followed by the ability to see and eat. That's not how evolution works. And I really can't believe that they put that as their introduction. Okay, now. Dr. Kent Hovind, yes. We all know that. We all know him. Convicted fraudster, serving 10-year sentence for tax evasion, all around douche. And calling evolution a pagan religion. First of all, evolution is nowhere near as old as I'm believing he's going. Since he referred to the Bible earlier, I'm guessing he's going by the Christian religion. Unless you're going by the definition that any religion that is not Christianity is by definition pagan. Although that's so seriously not technically right. Anyway, Christianity has more elements of ancient pagan religions in it than any science field does. Okay. Well, I'm running low on time, so I'm going to answer the first couple questions, and then I'll answer the rest of the questions in another video. So, where did the space for the universe come from? And where did matter come from? And where did the laws of the universe come from? The first three questions. Okay, first of all, there is no space outside the universe. The universe contains all the space. Now, this may be difficult for the human imagination to wrap around, but if the universe were not here, we would not have a big empty void of nothingness. There would be no void. I know, it's kind of hard to imagine, right? Like, when you think of nothing, you think of a big emptiness. But that big empty area is still something. So what the universe is its space. The universe, as it expands, it creates new space. It's not like a balloon in a room that's growing and eventually pushing against the walls of the room or having to push stuff out of the way. There is no, as far as physicists are concerned, there is no outside the universe. At least nothing that we would interact with. But that's one of the big questions. We haven't fully solved it yet. I'm not going to claim to know the full nature of the outside of the universe when the greatest physicists in the world are still arguing about it. Now, where did matter come from? Well, all matter and energy in the universe was created in a microfractional, like 10 to the negative 43 power of a second of the Big Bang. When the Big Bang occurred, all the energy the universe would ever contain was in there. And it cooled rather rapidly. And as it cooled, some things condensed out. The first thing was probably time. Time was probably the first thing to emerge, although theoretically at 10 to the minus 43 seconds of the universe, that's when our understanding of physics breaks down. That's when the four basic forces of gravity, the strong and weak nuclear forces, and electromagnetism all become one strange force, and we have no idea what the universe acts like under those conditions because our particle accelerators aren't powerful enough to replicate this yet. We have been able to turn back to the point where the strong and weak nuclear forces become one. We have a vague understanding of that. It's believed that the strong and weak nuclear forces branched off last, and then before then they branched off from the electromagnetic force, which a fraction of the second before there branched off from gravity. But all this is only possible with time, and as I said, if you go back far enough, we really don't understand what's going on. Oh, I'm almost out of time. So, I'm going to stop here and make another video, which will have the answers to the rest of the questions. Stay tuned.